This is episode 160. We have Bill back, and yeah, we'll be
Yay.
starting shortly. Usual deal.
Getting Audacity rolling.
Chill.
Test. Yes.
The shout out to the chat room is getting a bit long,
Mm-hmm.
so I'm thinking maybe we'll just skip that.
It's the health of the chat room is exceeding our time limit.
Yeah, basically.
Okay.
And our non-live listeners, well, we'll see. We could always just do it, and then I could even cut it out later or something.
Well, would you want me to do it anyway then, for now?
Yeah. Yeah, alright. That's the decision. Alright. Everyone got their recording stuff ready?
Yes, Audacity is rolling.
Okay.
Not yet.
Dekion got us a GTN kiosk on our ship. Woohoo! Fantastic. Haven't even got one for my own stronghold yet.
Might all be ready when we finish
Test.
up.
Test. All right.
Tweet. That's what I'm doing. I knew there was something else. Oh, alright. Tweeting for the show. Alright. So, Red, recording, yes?
Yes, sir.
And Bill, you said you're recording?
Yep.
Jill is always recording.
Yep.
Okay, I haven't heard any audio shifts yet, so...
Good.
Could be good. Yep. Alright, let us get the show on the road. No, not the road. Yep.
Alright. Got that going. Going in 5. Hi, and welcome to the OotiniCast. In its belly you will find a new definition of pain and suffering as you are slowly digested over 1,000 years. This is episode 160 being recorded on Wednesday, August 20th, 2014. I'm your host, Chill, and with me is my co-host, Tio. Hi, Tio.
Hey guys.
And with us today are Bill and Red. So, Bill, what you been up to?
Well, not a lot. I actually, in-game, I've been prepping for 2.9, and now the 2.9 is here. I said I'm completely overwhelmed. I have no idea what to do. I've made a couple million, but I got worried. I dropped all the way down to 70 million credits, and I started running dailies. So I found that's my limit. Once I hit 70, panic set in, and I felt the need to run dailies. So I've been running a few dailies the past few days to try to keep up. Once 2.9 hit, I went ahead and I bought the Coruscant apartment. I'm only buying as I make money, so I'm staying credit neutral. So all my profits are going just into expanding. So it's already 100% maxed out. I've already decorated it complete. Then to my Nar Shaddaa, I've unlocked a couple rooms. I'm still maxed out on it until I unlock more. But that's it. I haven't got really to enjoy much. I just started dipping my toes into the crafting.
Very cool.
I got this great idea a few days ago to start tracking everything. So I have sat out. We'll talk more in detail later about it, but I've got this whole spreadsheet set up for myself. I'm tracking about the prices of 165 different materials. It has all the recipes built into it for everything. So as I put in the raw prices, another tab does all my automatic calculations of what everything is equal
Cost to make, yeah.
So I've started doing that once per day, posting it on the forums. It's day by day, so we can kind of see over time what the prices are doing and where the benefits to buy and sell are. But I did underestimate the time a little bit. When I first did it, when I set it up, I don't know if I just wasn't looking at the clock right. I'm like, I thought it took me about a half hour. And I found more and more as I do it, it's taken me between literally an hour and a half to go through it each time. So it's eating into my game time a little bit, but we'll see how it goes.
Very cool. All right, that sounds good. Red, how about your week?
I've had a great week. I want to say welcome back, Bill. I was really glad you were going to be on the show this week because, yeah, I'm just about as lost and confused as you sound like you are. But did ranked PvP this weekend, actually. I just got on Saturday and was like, you know what? I feel like doing ranked, and knocked out 10 matches and got 8 out of 10 wins. It was really satisfying. Yeah. Did a bunch of that, actually. And even though I'm sure, like we'd already figured out that there wasn't any spike in participation, the steadiness and whoever it is that is queuing, and maybe it was just because I really have been streamlining my gear a lot, I definitely felt a lot more effective and successful. I mean, 80% win in PvP is pretty nice.
Yeah.
Also, I'm really actually pretty psyched about Season 3 coming in because since I've been totally streamlining my gear and the fact that there is no new tier for PvP with this season, that means easy peasy. I can actually get in there and just start rocking the ranked and worry about my, what my score is, my elo, without having to worry about getting more gear. I can just play, which is actually pretty exciting. Do normals in order to help my friends gear up, and do ranked because, well, it's fun.
Very nice.
I actually got onto your Harbinger on Monday night, and was grouped up with Ben B55, who's a frequenter in our chat room, and he had gotten all of his guildies on and decided that he wanted them to do ranked PvP the last night. And so I took my Marauder, which is still in greens, went into ranked PvP, not grouped up with anybody, but I did end up getting in with some of them, and I did the first match, though. First one, we actually won it, and I felt like I was contributing. The bolster worked, instead of being at 22k, I was at 27k, which is still really low. But it was a lot of fun. They definitely were all gunning for me, so I just popped all my defenses and ran like hell, which I think might be why we did all right. But no, it was fun. It was cool to be on the Harbinger for an evening too, goofing off a little bit over there. I had actually decided I was going to try and build that Marauder up so I might be able to participate with some people on the Bastion, and went to queue up, and of course he's only DPS option, and sat for 10 minutes with nothing happening, no queue pops. And my first thought was, oh, well, that's true. Harbinger has a lower imp population compared to pubs. It's kind of the reverse of the Bastion. And so I just for the heck of it, I threw out in guild, hey, queues just don't pop, do they? And they're like, oh yeah, you need a tank or a healer. Hey, I'll come tank for you. I was like, oh sweet, somebody actually wants to play with me. Tank gets in, I hit the queue, the pop is instantaneous. I mean, no hold, just boom. I was like, ooh, awesome. So I did a few flash points, at which point somebody even mentioned, hey, flash points aren't the best way to gear up. You should do the Oricon storyline. Get all those free, set.
It's pretty good pieces, yeah.
Yeah, and I was like, oh, that'd be great. Here, why don't I take you do it? Oh, okay, that'd be cool. So nailed it all straight up, even through the heroic 2-man. So I've got half of a set. Still have like green implants and wrist piece and whatnot, but other than that, I did play my Scoundrel and my Warrior on the Bastion, and they were both 33 when I started. They're now both 35, which I haven't alted in ever since that double XP week. Haven't played a single alt in any way. In fact, I've barely even played. I would classify that I have 2 mains, and I barely played 2. It was a lot of fun just to chill out, alt, just relax, not have to feel compelled to work on some nuanced little aspect of the end game, but instead just have some fun. It was awesome. So as an incentive, because I had decided I was going to do some play on the Harbinger, and I had that guild experience where people wanted to play with me, I was like, dang it, I really need to find guilds on the Bastion. Like, I really need to. And so I started looking, and got some characters in there, and got in and was on voice, and immediately I get in there, and of course it's politics that they're talking about, and I'm like, oh, I'm just not going to talk because I'm the new guy, and then of course somebody makes some excuse and drops the N-bomb, racial slur, and I was like, whoops, all right, so this guy gets muted, and then I whisper to somebody else in the guild, who is so-and-so in the voice? Oh, that's this person. Okay, sweet / ignore in game. Working my way through, and it was like, okay, that feels good. That feels good. And then I logged into Imp site on the Bastion to a guild that I actually have been. I think it's Bacon's guild. I was really psyched because after having that experience, I logged into their server and guild message of the day. Listen, we don't deal with this racist BS. Knock it off. I was like, okay, cool. This guild at least might be one I should pursue.
Awesome. Yeah.
It was, and it's like good, bad, and the thing was, this guy had made his comment. I decided, I'm gonna kind of be quiet in that guild because he was also an officer, and that kind of stuff can definitely influence your gameplay. So, as I'm searching for a big guild to participate in, I'm also realizing that group dynamic is really important to me too. So, but there's lots of places to look. I did make on my live stream, I went ahead and made a video of unlocking all of Tatooine. I had enough credits stored up on no bill, but I hadn't have enough to open every single room.
Very nice.
Of Tatooine, which was cool. Did that, and then I spent a lot of time. I did also check my alts, so I did that stream just to get it all unlocked and have that saved, and then I turned off my stream and I started alt hopping because I knew I could do that quest over and over and over again and get all those materials, or decorations anyway. And did test. You cannot, at level 11 at any rate, pick up that quest. You can get to your stronghold, but you can't pick up that quest. So if you wanted to use a ton of alts to get decorations in order to rush to 100%, you do have to actually level up quite a bit.
Right. I did mine on my level, I think she was 19 at the time, so it's probably level 15.
Yeah,
I guess
okay.
Cut off.
Somewhere between the two. 15 makes sense to me too.
Mm-hmm.
I did discover, though, that you can actually, 50 is the most you can get of an individual item?
Mm-hmm.
I had character hopped enough and had enough alts that I maxed out on basic metal chairs.
Right. You can make a little auditorium now.
Exactly. And I thought, Bill says there's no use for the Legacy Guild Bank, or the Legacy Bank. I think I can put basic metal chairs in there. Because I can't consume them, so... 100% stronghold is done.
Wow.
500 hooks on Tatooine, 100% done, and no, you cannot put any items down beyond those 500. It is a limit. And yes, you can put down 500 items in 3 rooms and have a whole bunch of empty rooms. So eventually I'm going to have to go back in there and actually move stuff around. Yeah. I did put it on the public listing. I was the first person on the Bastion to get 100% on Tatooine, which I put a screenshot in here for that. I also bought off of the light side vendor. You can get a title if you've got a light 5 character, and it's just credits, and so it's actually Redna's Jedi Academy.
Oh, so very nice.
That's my stronghold title, but I'm #1 up there right now. I'm sure that will change rapidly because I don't have many of those decorations from achievements. But I have started doing lots and lots of the flashpoints, old flashpoints, lots of the heroic ones especially, since I have not gotten the achievements done for getting 25 each. And they now all have boss drops that will give you decorations. I have started working my way through. I've got a list, and as soon as I get the decoration, I can move on. Or stop queuing for that one. But yeah, I'm definitely doing lots of flashpoints right now while I try and find a really big guild to participate in the guild conquest stuff, and then which means I also have to get back into operations so that I can get those achievements and those boss drops, and basically there's a whole lot more to do now.
Wow.
And that's my week.
All right. Tio, how about your week?
Just before I start, just from the guys in the chat mentioning that there's a half-hour queue to log into the Harbinger.
Wow.
Wow. Yeah, haven't seen one of those for a long time.
Yeah.
Impressive. I guess I know our guild has been a lot more busy just in the last couple of days since the patch went live, so it's all good.
I say merger splits, bring back Space Slug.
Well, anyway. Now, rating, we'll start with that. In day one, we had internet issues. Firstly, Bill and Pez DC'd simultaneously, and we're thinking some sort of routing issue with they were both Comcast? Was it Time Warner? Both Time Warner, yeah. And then after that, Kuze went offline for 15 minutes, so there was a lot of dead time in our short run. But we still got Nightmare for a down. We did hard mode Bestia and Dread Palace and had a couple of goes on Tyrants before we ran out of time. Then on day 2, back into hard mode Dread Palace. We got Tyrants down again after a few goes, and then we spent the rest of the session working on hard mode Caliphas, and we did actually get him down with 10 minutes to spare. So that's another new kill. We are working our way through hard mode Dread Palace. So this week, ideally, we will actually get all the way through to the 4th boss, the guy with the challenges. Is that Raptors?
I can't remember the names of those guys in there.
The 4th one with the challenges. And hopefully we'll add him to the list as well. Then it'll be back in the Dread Fortress, and we'll work on the last boss in there, assuming that we can get through Corruptor 0 reasonably reliably and quickly.
Right.
Now, my own week, it was fairly quiet. I did the usual hard mode flashpoints every day on my healing on my Scoundrel, tanking on my Guardian, where possible. And then, of course, yesterday morning, 2.9 was out. I think I spent most of the day online just being overwhelmed, even though I knew what was coming in quite a lot of detail and had played on the PTS quite extensively. There's just so much stuff. So I feel like I'm only scratching the surface of it. So what I did do is purchase Coruscant, Dromund Kaas, and Nar Shaddaa, obviously, because we got that for free.
Right.
I've decorated them all to about 50% each. Now, something I discovered, and Turg actually also discovered, is the fastest way to max out your hook count, if you don't care about aesthetics, is to change each wall panel to the smaller green sized,
right,
and then plaster them with achievement posters.
Yes.
It turns out that I've got maybe 700 of them, unless I'm miscounting. It's like 10 pages, 7 types each, 10 of each that you can actually drop. So, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, you can fill up your walls. I mean, it looks ridiculous, but...
Yeah. It's a bizarre trophy room.
Have you noticed any missing? Because I've noticed I've got a lot of them that are missing.
These hard mode and nightmare mode ones, you notice they were the medium size, the blue size?
Yeah,
okay.
But it's weird. Like, I'll have SOA story mode, but I won't have ancient pylons.
Oh.
And it's like that for a lot of the stuff we've done. So I'll have, like the Nightmare, I'll have the 3rd and 4th bosses, but not the first 2. I've noticed that, and I don't know if anybody else has noticed.
Have you redone it since 2.0?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay. Because I do have achievements that there are gaps because, like, the 2 bounty hunter guys in KP.
Yeah.
They put 2 separate achievements for them, but only gave me credit for killing one of them, and I just haven't been back to do it. So I was thinking it might be something along those lines, but if you've done all of those again, that's weird.
I'm going to sit down to go through and try to figure out if it's buggy or if I'm just missing some.
Okay.
Looks like the chat room says it's a known bug.
All right, which means there'll be even more posters once they fix that up. Yeah, so anyway, it's a good way of just quickly filling up hooks if you want to increase your completion percentage. Now, the reason you do that is because that will contribute to the bonus to your conquest points. Now, when you earn conquest points, they go towards your personal total, and if your guild has invaded a planet, towards the guild's total. So that's why you want to do it.
I'll have to do it then. I'll find a room in Nar Shaddaa and just plaster it. Have we have we sent the guild ship off to a planet yet?
We have. Let me talk about that next. So we did the Utini Holdings lottery. We did another one, which I organised this time based on Draco's setup. So we'll just announce the winner there. The way we worked it this time was, again, it was 50,000 credits per ticket, up to 5 tickets per character, though you were free to donate more, of course. I think Kusei put in like 10 million credits, and Rob put in 1 million. So we had some, fairly hefty donations from people, which meant we ended up with 123 entries in total across those, and that we raised about 22 million credits on Utini Nights and a couple of million through Rage. And the winner is Martian. That's Greg Carter, who will receive a cartel pack donated from Bill. Thank you, Bill.
Very nice.
And I plan to actually continue this. What I'll do is run the lottery every week, at least for a while. And I think we'll do it separately, one on the Night side, one on the Rage side. And we'll keep the funds separate as well. So once we get enough on the Rage side, we'll get ourselves a guild flagship on the Imp side as well.
Very cool.
So, using those funds, and actually Bill then topped it up, so we actually got over the 50 million. We did actually purchase the guild flagship, first thing.
Yay.
And
What did you name it?
I renamed it to the Viz Fidelis, which Bill, because he was a big contributor, got naming rights, which he came up with, which means Force Faithful in Latin. Very cool. According to Google Translate anyway, so it may not be perfect, but close enough, and sounds pretty cool.
Yeah.
Now we invaded Alderaan.
Okay.
Looking at the guild list, each of the 3 planets available gives you a different combination of bonuses, like operations and war zones and crafting, operations and crafting, something like that, or flashpoints. And so Alderaan was the war zones and flashpoints. Now, I'll just comment in passing that Pez mentioned in guild chat today that it's repeatable objective to do war zones, and you get like 1,000 or even more. Yeah, I think it's doubled actually, or 500 base, doubled to 1,000 per war zone. And that is kind of overpowered, because if you get a bunch of guys in your guild running war zones, 15 minutes
for hours and hours.
Yep. Which means that the PvP guilds are actually pretty high up there, and all they're doing is just running war zones. So yeah, it's like repeatable content, that everyone can do.
Right. Well, yeah.
Now with the heroic stuff on the planet's surface contributing, what is it, 3 times as much? That's only if you actually own the planet, though, isn't it? No, if you're docked there, you get 3 times, right? Does that help to be competitive against the PvPers, or still pretty unbalanced?
You'd be locked out though. Can't you only do those once per day, the heroics?
I guess that's true. I keep thinking about the fact that I got like 6 characters.
Now for flashpoints, I believe you can get the daily done, and that's the only way you can get the objective points for it, so you can't spam flashpoints. You can just do it once per day. So I suspect they're going to have to nerf that for war zones, because it's just too powerful. Either reduce it a lot or cap it, so you can only do it once per day or something.
Yeah, diminishing returns, something.
Something, yeah.
Or
PvP Season 2 rewards were so bad that BioWare threw the PvP as a bone. Yeah, that's a little cynical, but let's see. And so first, as I said, first thing you do, invade Alderaan, which means taking the flagship there. You don't actually have to be there to invade it, but it makes sense because then you can add orbital support, which gives the bonus to anyone who has on the surface of Alderaan. And that's pretty much it. Oh, and we also, Chill, you and me, along with a couple of others from the guild, Jace and... who was it?
Can't remember off the top of my head.
Oh, it's going to be terrible. Was it Thorvax? He brought something. He brought his... It was an Aussie of our friend of ours. Anyway,
yeah.
Chill and I, with a couple of guildmates, did a Manan, the Republic side Manan, which I don't know on the PTS. Chili hadn't seen it before. We just blew through that.
It was fun.
What'd you think, Chill?
Since we were all geared out and stuff and had 4 guildies, talking in chat and everything, or talking, in Mumble, it was pretty simple. It would have been a challenge if we had like early 55 gear, been a bug, anything like that. It would have been a real challenge. And it's very pretty, and I like the fact there's just tons of completely new art stuff in there. I mean, not reskin stuff. There's like completely new stuff. Yeah, and it was fun. And some the bosses were kind of typical boss mechanics, but it was fun. And I like the thing that happens before the third boss that sort of turns it's like a big dramatic turning point in the flashpoint.
Yeah.
That's a lot of fun.
Yeah, I gotta say it's a lot better, in my opinion, than the Korriban and Titan ones from the first chapter. Very well done. Of course, there's only the one of them. If you do it on the imp side, of course, it's actually very, very similar. There's not much difference at all. Anyway, that's my week. Over to you, Chill.
All right. First, a shout out to the chat room. Dekayan is here, Elion D, HK Chubbs, Jace, Nepthan, Patchwork, Riss, Rikiri, Ferris Terran, Enixis, Jawkins, Josvan, Palace, Pez, and Swotor Minor are all here. Hello, everyone. Let's see, and feeling pretty poor right now. Worked on my new Sentinel, got her up to level 21, and I finished Nar Shaddaa. And in doing that, I did a lot of PvP along the way with Guildie Wraith, so that was fun. It's always more fun to do it with a Guildie. And let's see, I also had the breadcrumb for the casino, so I went there while I was on Nar Shaddaa. And I had about 50,000 credits on the character, so I put about half of that into the casino for fun. So you probably remember the 4.4 million I spent getting my Rancor and then the marathon session and all that. Well, after spending 20,000 credits, I have a second Rancor. So
What?
So yeah,
Wow.
First Rancor 4.4 million, second Rancor 20,000.
So if you divide that by 2, that's right around that number that Minor gave us, where you
Right,
should have gotten it.
I'm back to the average. Yeah, it was hilarious. So I have not spent it yet. I'm still paranoid. I know my rating main because it's been my rating main for a long time, but I've been switching my PvP main, and so I'm not sure who I really want to put the Rancor on right now. So I just have it in inventory and all. Yeah, so there we go. I didn't do too much with the Galactic Strongholds. Did make a quick bedroom, threw down a bed, put up some lights and stuff on the walls just for fun, but haven't had a chance to really spend it. I'll take another room and just and max it out for gaming purposes like we talked about earlier. But yeah, overall it was a fun week. Still can't believe about the Rancor. That was ridiculous. Yeah, so anyway, that will bring us to the tip of the week. And the first tip of the week is actually mine, so it's not in the contest, of course. My tip is those lovely overpowered legacy items that you can get from kits that you spend at those vendors on your capital planet. They're not moddable. However, if you have one that's a main or offhand weapon, they do have color crystals in them, so you can take your legacy plus 41 crystals and make them even more crazy overpowered. So yeah, a weapon you can use at level 14 with a gear level of 50, and then you can add a plus 41 endurance crystal to it, so which makes it crazy overpowered. So yeah, so that's one fun way to upgrade your gear while you're leveling.
Actually, I've been doing that with. That's what I use, the pair of those, to actually move the plus 41s to all of my characters as soon as they get their main hand. Yeah.
Right. I just have one that's unlocked in the collections, and I just use those for all my characters. So all the Treeks have plus 41,
Right.
main and offhand, and so on. And by the way, Treek is crazy overpowered if you do that too. So let's see. It looks like we have 6 tips this week. I'll go ahead and read the first one. Jace writes, when you're doing the 50 hard mode flashpoints, make sure to do the bonus to get a decoration off the bonus boss.
Yeah, that applies obviously to the level 55 hard modes as well. So, yeah. Obviously, we've been skipping the bonus boss because you only get a couple of elite comms from them typically in the 55 one. So now,
it's not worth the
got
time.
a reason.
Now there's a reason. Yep.
I know that off of all of the 55 hard modes, and I think it's for the 50s, but I'm not certain, the bonus bosses are also necessary to get all the achievements, which I know you guys aren't concerned about, but it's important.
You're right. Though, maybe now, who knows? Alright, the second tip is from Nickish from the Harbinger. I expect this is a tip that you got when you first started the show, but I just found it out and I find it really useful now. When getting items and credits from your mailbox, choose the box on the top left to select all messages and then select the small box 2 buttons over to get all checked message attachments. This will grab all the credits and items that you didn't sell, as well as all of the credits from successful sales on the GTN. Big time saver compared to opening up each mail item and getting each item individually. Yeah, I'm sure we did mention this a long time ago. I'm sure we all use it on a very regular basis. But yeah, it's a great tip if you just haven't happened to notice that yet.
Yeah, especially if you've done a big GTN sale and you've got pages and pages to go through, and it will suck out all those successful sales for sure. And then as far as the unsuccessful sales or other items, it'll go until your inventory is full, and then it'll just give you an error and let you know that you can't get any more. All right, third tip. At Revenge Forsaken writes, if you buy something from collections on one server, it will open up on all servers, so buy from one GTN and you can unlock it on a different one.
And this is a really interesting idea if you do actually have funds on different servers. So we knew the collections were account-wide, so if something for whatever reason is selling cheap somewhere, you can buy it on that server and then unlock it and it's just available everywhere.
Right.
It's great.
And that could be because of the server, or just you happen to get lucky on one server with one guy just putting it for the cheap.
The only painful part is earning the credits, but then again, if you just bought some cartel packs and sold them on that server, would be a nice way to just build up at least some amount of credits, if you just want to do it in a hurry.
Actually, this was another question I had about the strongholds. If you use cartel coins to unlock the stronghold, is that for your entire account?
Oh.
As opposed to the server.
That's a great question. That's a great question. I don't know. I would guess not, because there are legacy unlocks which are paid for with cartel coins, but with that legacy they are not account-wide. So that would be my guess, but we should confirm that somehow.
Okay.
Oh,
the fourth
sorry.
one.
Our fourth tip is from Elian D of the Epic Guild on the Shadowlands. This tip is somewhat inspired by Max from the SWOTOR Escape podcast, who said a few weeks ago that he keeps one of each item that he sells in his inventory or in his cargo bay, and then shift-clicks on each item to determine what to craft to sell on the GTN. Well, recently, while making my crafting choices, I realized that I could simply shift-click on the item thumbnail in my crafting items list, as in the list you bring up when you have the things that you can actually craft, and accomplish the same result without having to take up any space in his inventory or his bank. So again, this is so you shift left-click on the item, and this was a reasonably recent change, and it will just put the name of it into the GTN, so you can then search immediately to see if there's any other items of that particular type and how much they are selling for. So yeah, nice. You do not need the item in your inventory, you just need, you can craft it, you can actually check just by using your crafting window. Good tip.
Very nice.
Hang on. Yeah, you're doing the next one and I'm doing the sixth one. Sorry.
Okay. Neptun of Old Republic Dad's Guild on the Shadowlands and host of Old Republic Radio writes, before the group call down option, be sure to invite someone to the group who isn't on your guild ship, so you can flip the group to an operations group, and then you can get the rest of the group formed up who are all waiting on your ship. then call them down and wreck the countryside.
So we actually we ran into exactly this problem yesterday. We had, it was Turk and Pez were down on the surface of Alderaan. They had snuck into a Empire base. They had found a commander. So they invited a couple of us who were on the guild flagship and tried to convert to an ops group. It didn't work because the guild flagship is considered a phase. So we had to travel to the fleet, so he could then convert to ops group and then bring in other people from the guild. Now, once that was done, I actually created a special rank called Summoner for our guild, who is exactly like a regular member, except they can draw, I think I made it 50k credits per day. And that let them then summon us in, because it has to be, I think it has to be someone, the group leader. They have to be on the location where you want to summon to. He did that. Now, how to do it is you right-click on your character portrait. It's a group option. Summon players to your location. It just takes the funds from the guild bank, and everyone is then immediately teleported to where they're standing. They do not need to be in orbit on the guild ship. They can be anywhere. And they're all teleported right there. So yeah, we put a quick raid together with 9 of us, and oddly enough, we attacked a turret and killed that, because that's one of the things you can do to objectives if you get a certain number. Okay. And they said, and the pair said, "Where'd the commander go?" And apparently he was just not there anymore. So we don't know what happened. That was just weird. And then someone finally found his corpse at the base of a hill just down nearby. We don't know if someone else grabbed him, and then, or if it was just a bug, and he was. We don't know what happened. But anyway, just yeah. And I hope they change this. A guild flagship is considered a phase as far as creating and converting to an ops group goes. So if you've got more than 4, you will need to make sure no one is in the ship.
Right. So hopefully that's something they can correct, but it might be a limitation of technology, so yeah, we'll see.
But again, you do not need to be in your ship to be transported down to the surface. You can be anywhere in the game.
Okay.
And the last tip is from Draco, organizer of our lottery. I know it may be a bit late, but I found that if you purchase each stronghold through different characters following the initial quest, you will get the reward, which includes the mailbox and the legacy bank. That way you can have a mail, a legacy bank, and all the extra decorations on each stronghold. Now, it goes further than that, actually. You can start the mission on any character, and you guys talked about this already. You do not need to buy even though it says you must purchase a stronghold, you don't need to buy one. Right. All you need to do is, if there's one already bought, you travel to it. You take a few steps and it grants the actual reward. So, yeah, I've done that on a few characters so far and got a lot of metal chairs, etc.
Yes.
As well as the legacy and the mailbox.
It's also well worth mentioning, log back into every one of those characters that you do that on. I think it's an hour, maybe 2 hours later, because there are either 3 or 4 emails or in-game mails that will come to you with additional decorations.
Right.
So.
And if you train for the crafting, on a crafting toon, you will have to train up for that profession's all the new stronghold stuff. You'll also get a mail with the... I believe this is only for the craftable ones, where you can actually place them and then harvest them to actually get the mats.
Oh, wow. That's cool.
Yeah.
And it's weird. It seems wonky as to whether or not you get the buff that prevents you from being able to scan again.
It's random. It's a random chance that you'll get that.
Okay. So you can do it more than once until that random hit. And then you can switch characters and keep doing it.
Yep. And it's a 15-second cast. And as far as I could tell, they're always level 1. Is that true, or is it random? Because I only got level 1, so a couple of times I could be bothered doing it.
I'm pretty sure I've only gotten level 1 too. I was wondering if maybe they might have some means of gaining higher level 1s through some process or another in the future.
Yes, there are. So you get the level 1s, right? I think they're drops from the weekly conquest when you get your 35,000 conquest points. You get them as a reward.
Okay. Which are high level versions of the same thing.
Yes.
Okay. All right, so cool. You can build yourself a little garden or whatever with those things in your stronghold. You do not need to have the profession either. I think we mentioned that previously to do the gathering. So any character can gather from any of these things and get the particular type, scavenging or bio or whatever.
Okay. Excellent. Well, by a random allotment, the winner is Nikish from the Harbinger. So congratulations, Nikish. You're the winner of an M8R3 code, courtesy of BioWare, and one of the latest Cartel Market Packs, courtesy of the OotiniCast. If you'd like a chance to win the same, please send a tip to OotiniCast@gmail.com by next Wednesday. And that will bring us to the Holo feed. Tio?
Let us start, before we dive into the 2.9 details, with a post that they made. It's another blog, a bit of backstory. The events of a boring and forgettable day. Now, this is all set up. It's a nice bit of fiction setting us up for the depths of a Flashpoint. So I won't obviously read through it. It's worth it if you're interested, and gives you a little insight on the Selkath and how they think and their perception on the rest of the galaxy. They sound kind of weird, but aliens. All right, so the big story, of course, is Game Update 2.9, early access to Galactic Strongholds, is live, deployed during 5 hours of maintenance. All seemed to go really smoothly. My slight trepidation that a lot of the issues that we saw on the PTS were still present in the 2.10 PTS were allayed by the fact that it seemed that the build that went live at 2.9 had all the issues fixed. There are a few known issues still remaining, but all the nasty stuff is gone. It is, as far as I could tell, pretty solid. There are a few glitches here and there, but for the most part, it's good. So. And there hasn't been any disastrous, massive bug or anything so far. So it's looking good.
I ran into a few little ones, slight inconsistencies, but it's so trivial compared to what we saw just before they took this beta server down.
Exactly.
And it's all workaroundable. I haven't seen anything that just prevents you entirely. So.
Yeah. Now, we did have the usual greetings and welcome from Jack Woods, who is the producer who's been pretty much running the show as far as Galactic Strongholds goes, and he just goes over all the details. No extra information in there that I could tell. Oh, we should just mention in passing, Band Contract Week is over, of course, as is the Suvada Casino event. So it was all there all throughout 2.8. It is now concluded with 2.9. We do not know when it will be back. They did mention it was annual, which means that once per year, but maybe it'll come back more frequently. We don't know. It was mentioned on Reddit, I saw, that the vendors are still there. So if you're worried you had to spend all your golden certs before the end, don't worry about it. The vendors are still there. So you can spend them whenever you feel like. They have not added any decorations to those vendors either. They're exactly as they were.
Okay.
All right. Patch notes. Now, obviously, we have covered all of this in a lot of depth already, so we'll just breeze over it. There are a couple of new things, I guess. Guild flagships. So let me just find what I wanted to cover. Yep. All right. Ranked Arena Season 2 has concluded. We talked obviously about that last week, but I actually have gone back and had a look at the final numbers using my leaderboards page on OotiniCast.com. I've also added in the archive version for Season 1, which I'd been a bit slack about doing, but it is now up as well. Okay. So you can actually see exactly what the numbers were from Season 1 and now what the numbers are for Season 2, and I will update it to do Season 3 once that goes live in, we think, 2.10. I don't think they've said that explicitly, but... Alright, so just some numbers from Season 1. The total number of players participating was about 38,000 in solo. In Season 2... it was about just shy of 34,000. So less players overall in solo.
not a huge drop off considering that, the disappointment that was vocalized over the rewards and so on.
Yeah. Now, as far as those rewards go, now the numbers that we've got here are only current rating, not the highest rating achieved. So presumably more people actually did get higher, and then their current rating probably dropped a bit, at least for some of them. So in Tier 1, there were only the 3 tiers. Tier 1, 1600 rating plus, 1.8% of the player base, 598 people, got the helmet and the holo replica barge thing. And 12.9% were in Tier 2. That was 1275 to 1599 rating. That was 4,355 players. And then the rest, for just showing up, was 85.3%. That was all in solo. Now, for group, participating in Season 1, 21,000. For Season 2, only 12,119.
That's a big drop off. There's only a small drop off in solo.
Yeah.
That's a big drop off.
Nearly half.
Yeah.
Now, as far as just the rewards there, Tier 1, 1.4%, 174 players. Tier 2, 17%. And Tier 3, 81.5% of group. For those rewards. So let's hope that Season 3 is they do whatever they're going to do to improve Season 3. Because with the queue syncing and everything else, the whole rank PvP thing is just suboptimal, shall we say. Okay. Oh, and better rewards. That might help too. Announced early.
Probably would have gotten me back into it harder.
Now, I still haven't experienced this directly, but McKeb has had this GSI satellite support service added, which, as someone has mentioned, it's just like having your heroic moment that you do with your companion in operation the whole time. You receive 2% of your health every 3 seconds while you're in combat, and all of your gear is bolstered to rating 156 in addition to that. Oh, and the 250% bonus to exploration experience. So anyway, if you've got any characters that want to get from 50 to 55, it's now going to be a hell of a lot easier to blow through McKeb.
Okay. That's in beta testing? So is that on the test server?
No, that's live. That's just them being... Yeah.
They're being cute.
They're being cute, indeed.
Sorry, I did check, actually, while you guys were doing the tips. I bought Dromenkos on Bastion. It does not show up on Harbinger. It was only 50 CC, so...
Okay.
Excellent.
Now
Thank you, Red.
So definitely is server specific no matter how you purchase it.
I looked at Tatooine. I haven't bought it yet. It's 2.5 million credits to unlock the credits with cartel coins, 2,500 cartel coins, and I was thinking about buying it, but with cartel coins, just briefly, because I'm not going to spend that much on anything. Yeah.
I mean, if you've got enough of a stockpile, it's not a lot of cartel coins compared to 2.5 million.
Oh, I've got a stockpile, but yeah. Anyway.
That's like Bill. You're like Bill with cartel coins.
I have a stockpile. I have a stockpile of those too.
I think the word is parsimonious, and Bill only purchases for investment purposes, basically.
Right.
I should do that too. I'm just more conservative. All right. So for shipment 5, we have we have the first 2 cartel packs from shipment 5. They are the Builder's Stronghold Pack and the Gatekeeper's Stronghold Pack. You may see it's a bit of a theme there. So lots of stuff. Wolfie's got the contents. They've been previewed before now from the PTS, on the preview window there. Now, they did want to mention there is issue with the Gatekeeper's Pack. Basically, inside that pack, it's possible to get a stronghold decoration called the Republic Voss Embassy Sign. However, when you use that item, it is actually granting the Justicar Propaganda Every Blaster Counts banner. Bug, not intended. They know that some people may have got the pack just to try to get themselves a Republic Voss Embassy Sign. I find that a bit unlikely, but you know. So they're going to be selling it in a future update for 1 credit to everyone. So,
That's pretty cool.
Oh, good. I'll take it.
That's like that other error where they ended up putting the
the healing table.
The medical table. Yeah,
Yep.
For 1 credit.
So
and,
yeah,
and there was an emote that did the same thing. They did the same thing.
So that's fantastic. They've added a new cartel reputation for it, the Binary Star Realty reputation. Very cute. I noticed that the price of the new pack, it wasn't discounted to 210 credits. It actually was just 210 credits. There are the 120 credit one and the 210 credit one now. So I don't know if that's going to be a thing going forward, but that's currently what it is. Let's see. Knew about all that. Regarding the NPC limit to the number of mounts, pets, and companions, I believe those all contribute to the NPC limit. Can that be confirmed? Mounts, pets, and companions, or is it just...
It's mounts, pets, and companions, but it's only the animal mounts. The regular mounts can be put in more.
Okay.
Mechanicals.
So that limit is currently 25 per stronghold, I believe.
Yes.
And
I confirm that too.
Okay.
It gives you a little red message that says you've hit your limit, you can't place anymore.
Now, they actually commented on that because a lot of people have said WTF. And the response was, I know the NPC limit is certainly something many of you would like to see raised. So the explanation is it is most definitely a performance issue. Without going into too much detail, they say if someone's stronghold begins to load a large amount of NPCs, it can create issues not only in your stronghold, but in others as well. Now, the others as well is because when they do an instance, and this is the strongholds is just another instance, it's phased. Now, when you actually arrive at your stronghold, you may briefly see other people just flash into existence and then disappear. And that's because it's all phased. And so if you overload your instance with too many NPCs, it will affect the performance of everyone else on that particular shard, if you like. So they say they will raise it if they can do so without there being performance degradation. So it's only 25 for now. They will up it if they can.
Okay.
And I was actually sharing with the chat room. What I've done is use this as an excuse to partially RP a little bit. Give one of your class members, one of your characters, that stronghold. And then that way, okay, you've got those 5 companions, but then leave all your other alts somewhere else. You can put some... 25 ends up being a bigger number than you realize if you really limit how many companions you put in there.
Right.
Yeah, I have 150 pets.
Yeah, the pets is the most disappointing part, yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah, personally I just picked Nashadar as the one I'm going to bother with in terms of decorating in any serious way because it's accessible from both factions. And so obviously it's shared, and Nashadar...
half of it unlocked.
Yeah, it's really expensive to unlock, of course. As far as I'm concerned, Coruscant and Droman Castle, at least for now, are just going to be conquest point bonus places where I just plaster crap anywhere just to get up to the hook limit and then forget about it. Which is probably not quite the way I should be looking at it, but anyway.
That's the other thing. Because I realized I didn't have 500 unique items, the first thing I did was go to one room and make a trophy room and put them all up unique, which wasn't quite enough. And so then I went to another one and then ran out real quick, and then it was like, okay, I'll just keep throwing trophies up. And then it was like, oh, I should go upstairs. And I went upstairs right where you spawn in on Tatooine and just started dumping couches. So I got a room full of couches. And then I made it public, and I realized, why did I make the entrance where everybody zones in look the absolute worst in my entire apartment?
Looks like a garage sale.
Because I actually immediately had like 3 people show up in my Tatooine as soon as I put it on the leaderboard, But
right.
Now it's worth reminding everyone that the public listings are just for currently logged in players. So that's all you're seeing at the moment. I guess that makes sense because those are the only ones you can actually visit. Unless you have a key, you can't actually get into a stronghold. So it'd be kind of weird to have a whole lot of offline ones listed on the public listing. Yeah, I know At least some of our guildmates are actually being pretty careful. I know Jace is actually setting his place up pretty well.
Yeah, definitely. You're gonna want to do that. Now, if you go to visit one of these public ones and the guy happens to log out, do you get booted, or does it let you stay in until you leave on your own volition?
I don't know. I would guess it would depopulate and it would remain in place until everyone left. That's a guess. I don't know if everyone would get booted. Again, something to try.
Right.
At some point.
If you invite somebody and they don't have a key and you leave, they are instantly booted. I know that.
Right.
Okay. Thank you, Red.
That's an invite, though. That might be a little different from the public.
No, it would work the same way.
Would it?
Yep.
Okay.
All right. Now, as far as the conquest events go, it's worth reiterating how this thing works. You bring up your mission log. There is a conquest tab. So on the left are a whole bunch of objectives applicable to at least a couple of the planets that are being invaded. By doing those objectives, and some of them are repeatable, you will earn personal conquest points, as well as conquest points for your guild if your guild is invading a planet. So if you reach 35,000 conquest points, and this is per character, personally, there is a bunch of rewards you receive. So it's actually worth doing it, focusing on a couple of characters or whatever, so you do reach that 35k per character.
Okay.
To get those rewards. Now, if your guild has invaded a planet that week, and the way that works is you have 6 days out of the 7, 6 days to actually do the invading and earn points. On the 7th day is a rest day, and so the winner is picked at the end of the 6 days. There is a leaderboard for each planet that you are invading, and only the top 10 are shown. So everything your guild members do, all of the conquest points they earn towards a personal one, also goes into the guild total. And that's what is shown on the leaderboard, or on your conquest thing for your guild if you're not on the leaderboard.
Cool.
Now, we had a question from Tiffany asking, what does the sign behind the guild names on the conquest page mean? There's a few that says, like, City of Sinagar. Now, I saw this as well, and every guild name has the guild name @ something. And a lot of them are old server names, or existing server names, such as the Harbinger and Druid's Pleasure Barge. But there's also names like Mass Shadow Generator and City of Sinagar, which, as far as I'm aware, were never server names. So my initial assumption was these were from the guild mergers, or from the server mergers, where the guilds retained the if there was any kind of conflict.
Right.
Pretty sure they didn't put the on the end if there was no guild name conflict after the mergers to the super servers. But given that some of these names aren't server names ever, they look like some kind of default strings. So that could be the case where there was no conflict and thus just some random string got stuck in there. But yes, some people were thinking this meant it was cross-server. It is not cross-server. These leaderboards are most definitely your own server. Both imp and pub sides, both factions on the same leaderboard, but it is just your server. Just to be absolutely clear about that.
Yep.
Yeah, I'd been hoping it was cross-server when I first noticed that, but immediately noticed that I didn't recognize most of the names.
Right. And Wraith in chat was saying that on the Harbinger we're about 150,000 points away from being in the top 10, so that's not too bad.
Yeah. This is where your PvP guilds are going to shine, because they're just going to chain run war zones and... Yeah.
What are the planets this week, by the way?
McCabe, Alderaan, and...
Voss.
Yeah.
Okay. I knew Alderaan, so...
And that is the same across all servers, so there is no variance on that. Also, again, let's mention that almost all decorations require prefabs to purchase, and there's various guides out there. Seema talked about it on a Swatro Escape podcast a while ago. They are created by crafters you will obviously be able to purchase them on the GTN. Bill will talk about the costs and stuff later. But yeah, that's how you do it. If you are a crafter, make sure you do visit your Crucible trainer and learn all of the new schematics for strongholds. It will cost maybe 85 to 100k to pick them all up.
Okay.
Yeah, I had to do that across my 6. And
are they high level, or if I have like a leveling crew skill, leveling one, should I go by and check for those?
That's a great question. I don't know because all mine are maxed.
Okay.
I would guess that the MK1 and MK2 ones are lower, but I don't know. Lower than 450, but...
Right.
Okay.
Yes.
The answer to that question is that prefabs are divided into 3 tiers, MK1, MK2, and MK3. These schematics may be trained at skill levels 150, 300, and 450 respectively. We should read the patch notes, obviously. Yep.
So the next point here with the war supplies, I've had this question both in game and in chat earlier tonight of, because there is a conquest point associated with crafting war supplies, we have guildies crafting these, but the question is, what should we do with them? Generally speaking, the war supplies go as part of the Dark Project. So there's 5 different types of war supplies. The Starship Weapons Infantry Supply Kits, Holocrons of Strategy, Crystal Capacitors, and Armored Vehicles. You have to have one of each of those along with the rare exotic mats to make a Dark Project. So we have guildies building these, but not necessarily the capability to buy them all. Maybe we should come up with a plan of somehow to use the guild bank to trade them or to get them to one person to make a Dark Project.
Yeah, that makes sense, given that the Dark Projects are used to extend the guild capital ship and also to buy the flyby to break the shield on commanders. So, I mean, that's what they're for, basically. There's nothing you can do with them personally, as far as I know.
And
Well, yes.
The capital ships have the same thing as the strongholds, where it increases percentage on that as well, right?
Does it? I wondered about that. Do you get a bonus to your conquest points based on the completion percentage on your capital, on your flagship? Do we know?
I do not know.
I don't know either.
Yeah.
But
I know there's a percentage there. I just didn't know if it worked that way or not.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, I saw that.
as far as individually, Dark Projects, the only thing they really help you with individually is to unlock your starships as decorations. Each starship requires 5 Dark Projects and 5 Universal MK3s.
Bloody hell.
That's a lot.
That's a lot of... Yeah, that's a lot of crap. Alright, so people do have reasons for doing it themselves, so... Okay. Right. Now, there was a fix to an operation. Nephra, who bars the way, that's the first boss in Dread Fortress, has a new Frustrated Howl ability and now deals damage to all players participating in her Dread Fortress encounter if she reaches 80% health and is unable to reach a target. This is a known exploit that some people have been using to actually farm her for stuff. I know a lot of people have done it, and they finally fixed it, so that just can't happen anymore. So if you're utilizing that exploit, you probably shouldn't anymore because you can't. Alright. And that's pretty much it for the patch notes. Now, Dolphy and Exile have got a bunch of guides available on tor-decorating.com for everything Stronghold related. And of course, Swertor Ista has swertorstrongholds.com as well, and she's done various videos for tours of the strongholds, etc. So both are worth checking out, tor-decorating.com for guides and an overall database of all of the decorations and the guides are fantastic. Just to know where to start, and I know I haven't really scratched the surface as far as all this goes. I've been focusing on the utility stuff, getting myself cargo bay and guild bank and all the rest of it for my stronghold, and obviously we'll be doing that for the guild capital ship as well. Now there's a bunch of known issues which I'll link to. Any that we want to talk about? They're all fairly easy. They're all fairly harmless, basically. The additional legacy stronghold storage bay item is consumed on use even if the player has all available bays unlocked. I haven't actually seen any of those yet. And there is a rename flagship item is consumed on use even if a rename is already available. So you get one free rename when you purchase your flagship, but the box does disappear after that, so you will need this rename item, which is presumably purchasable from the Kato market, though I didn't actually spot it.
Okay.
Alright, now for game update 2.10, there were some updates. Someone on Reddit posted that in the group finder now, there's a new option for a new tactical flashpoint called the Legacy of the Rakata.
Ah.
We'll leave that right there. Just let that sit out there for a while. And there were also some follow-up changes. The devs were really active on talking about the Sork and Sages. They were focusing on that specifically, on the changes, all revolving around the noble sacrifice, or whatever it is, consumption. For Sorks consuming no health in some circumstances and being off the GCD. Anyway, they've settled on something. We'll go through that in detail closer to 2.10 when it is finalized. Even though it's probably fairly close to stable now, yeah, we'll talk about it then.
Yeah, and there were some changes to Gunslingers too since we reported on it. It's just been good to see that they're being very responsive and adjusting and reacting to what some of the feedback is, because some of the feedback was strong and a lot of people complain that they don't respond, but they're doing a very good job of addressing these things.
Alright, next, let's talk about Gamescom, the community cantina coverage. Now, Russ, who actually happened to win our Tip of the Week last week, was a guest on OotiniCast this week, or in their last episode, where he was actually at the Cologne community cantina. So, and he talked about it. We walked through the whole Q&A, so that was a really excellent discussion on what was there. I will also link to Dolphy's post, and there is a Reddit summary as well, the SWTOR subreddit, on the Q&A. Let's just quickly breeze through some of them. The Shadow Realms team, we talked about that new game that's coming out, the 4v1 tabletop dungeon kind of thing, is a completely different development team and won't affect SWTOR in any way, though I did hear they have shared the community team between them. So the community team may be helping Shadow Realms as well, but the actual dev teams are completely separate, which actually makes a lot of sense. We didn't get any dev responses to 2.9 because the team was just too busy getting it ready and could not spare even a few minutes, that I believe, and it sounds like it was worth it, because as far as we've experienced, 2.9 is really solid. The feedback was heard and acted upon, though for various other things it can have to wait until 2.10. The Dark Project prices are working as intended. They are supposed to be a lot of effort to get. Aware of the situation with rated PvP, discuss solutions, cross-server not coming in 2014, enormous undertaking. And Corey Butler said at this moment they are narrowing down the solutions for rated PvP. They talked about this more on OotiniCast in detail. One possibility that we've certainly talked about is having a standalone PvP server where people can transfer to as a way of getting all of the rank together on one place, so rather than cross-server. I mean, that's possible. In fact, that is more or less how they would implement sort of how cross-server would
Which would isolate the entire PvP community from the rest of the gamers? I don't understand that.
A crossover would be
terrible
ideal
idea.
for ops as well. So let's hope they eventually get there. They're not going to tell us about the end of year, the real expansion they should pay money for. yet, but the messaging will start in a few weeks, as you would expect, given we're only a few months away now.
Yeah. I wouldn't be. Maybe it'll be in Seattle, but unfortunately, I don't think I can make it. It's late Sunday night, as it turns out, and
Let's
I
talk
have to
about
pick
that.
it up early. So.
Yep. So we'll talk about that early. We'll talk about that now. In conjunction with PAX, the Community Cantina in Seattle, as Chill said, late Sunday night or Sunday evening, Ben B will actually be there. He's
Good.
posted something on Reddit with the details. He's going to actually try and live stream it, at least the Q&A part, but he has to leave by 8:30 or something, so let's hope they do the Q&A early enough that he is able to cover it. He'll also be live tweeting what he experiences while he's there. So that's Ben B, old friend of the show from the Despair Guild on the Harbinger.
Yep. And I already asked him, and if he doesn't have the bandwidth to live stream it, he is going to be saving it and then putting it out, as a video or audio or whatever, as soon as
Excellent.
He's doing this all on his NVIDIA Shield. Very, very cool.
Yep. They talked about the hood toggle. Huge task, and on the on OotiniCast they talked more about this, like as much effort as went into strongholds. I believe they said something along those lines. So no hood toggle anytime soon. I would say ever, if it's really that much work to make it happen. Minor, no, I won't say that.
I was thinking it.
Yeah. Let me just quickly spot any others. Training dummies for strongholds are coming. Most not likely not with 2.9, but they didn't turn up with Game Update 2.9, but they will be there. And healing and tanking training dummies are in development. They're just difficult to implement, but BioWare is actually actively working on it.
What about day and night cycles?
No, Hip. No day and night cycles.
Well, I was thinking, what if we took the future and past portals from Tyrants as a drop, as a decoration, and then I could jump in the future portal and it would switch my stronghold to nighttime, and then jump in the past portal and it would be back to daytime.
I like that idea. That's brilliant. And breaking news, they've just announced maintenance for Game Update 2.9a. That will be on early Thursday morning.
So they did find some bugs, huh?
So that's
clearly there was something. There's no patch notes yet, so it's probably an exploit or something that they're going to fix.
Right.
That literally just happened. So
also, what we got from OotiniCast, from one of the people that was asking questions after the Q&A, they mentioned that they were very pleased with the success of the leaderboards via ranked PvP, as well as their implementation of them now with the guild conquering and the strongholds, and that it's something that they're going to pursue. And they used as an example, this is very good news for me, achievement leaderboards. So there may be in-game leaderboards for achievements, or at least if they had the same kind of web portal that they do for ranked PvP, that would make me pleased. Very, 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 very pleased.
All right. Now, also at Gamescom itself, Matthew Bromberg, who's the studio general manager, was on stage for EA, and he did talk about Galactic Strongholds, etc. And he happened to mention in passing that there are over 1 million players logging into the game every month. So that's actually pretty good news. Actually, that doesn't say 1 million subscribers, because obviously you would say at least half would probably be free to play. But it's pretty healthy. Now, also, Juiced Erdemacher sent in a link to a infographic that apparently BioWare put out, sent to the press. I still haven't tracked down exactly where this came from, where it has a bunch of stats of the game so far.
They're pretty cool.
Yeah, I will link to that article. It includes 57 million characters created, basically 1.8 billion PvP kills. Yes, B. Billion with a B. There are 70 million
Wow.
Jedi player characters.
How many gunslingers?
Not on the
5.
Yeah. They've
We
always
know
been
there
the
are
smallest.
5.5 million smugglers. We don't know how many of them are actual gunslingers. Probably a lot
Okay.
of scoundrels in there. Over 4 billion NPCs have been killed, and 635 million hours have been played in the game since launch. So yeah, just a bunch of really interesting stats. And yes, over 1 million active players. Wow, so that's all very cool. And that's the news.
Okay, let's see. All right, that'll bring us to the community corner. And first we have Tio's picks.
Basically, congratulations to the SWOTOR Escape podcast for their first anniversary. They put out one show per week, and they are up to 52 episodes. So congratulations,
Very
Max
nice.
and Seema.
10
Excellent.
more shows, and they hit their 2-year anniversary?
Wait, what?
What? What did I say? Did I screw that up? Sorry.
No, it's their joke. It was just
Oh.
they can't ever seem to keep track of how many more. So
Oh,
we'll just get them started on 2 years.
That's a lot of droids sent into space, I gotta say. All right, now Greg from our guild, Greg Carter, is organising the Utini Templars to basically, and anyone else who wants to come, because this will be in APAC, Asia Pacific evening time. His goal is to get us onto the guild leaderboards, and as we saw earlier, there is a long way to go. And as Nepthan said for the Old Republic dads, the idea is to pick the planet that does not have the PvP bonus. So you're not up against the PvP guilds who are just spamming war zones. You might actually have a chance. So looking at the numbers, I think we'd still be behind even then. But anyway, Greg and the Utini Templars are hoping to actually organize stuff to take down commanders, which is a great way to earn conquest points and make sure everyone is earning as many conquest points as possible towards the guild's total. So thank you, Greg, for organizing that. And, well, it's basically him, Ari, and Cal, the leaders of the Utini Templars. So they're trying to get it all together.
That's very cool. And it sounds like they're doing okay for, getting close to getting to the leaderboard anyway. All right, so that will bring us to the force feedback where you read out your tweets and emails. Let's see.
Just read out the part that says chill.
Got it. Chat room, if you have any questions to ask, Red will be gathering them now to ask once we're done with the feedback. So let's start with Kranatoko, who wrote, "The latest Hypercrate video is live for your viewing pleasure." I can't wait to see it. I did not notice it on my YouTube stream yet, but I will.
It just came out.
Okay, this was very recent. Okay. He also writes, could you also let people know that every time I do these videos, I give away 3 cartel packs of the one that I'm opening, and details on how to win are in the video. Excellent. All right. And those are always fun, so can't wait to see that. Let's see. Jace writes, Tio, I need more decorations. We have run out.
Now, he is specifically referring to the guild's decoration collection, because overall there's like 1,200 decorations in the game right now across the board, so we're not going to be running out generally, but getting them into your guild's collection. We talked about this last week. I did that little infographic. There's also a guide on tourdecorating.com about how to do it. You can donate decorations that are consumable via the guild bank, and for things like achievement posters, pets and companions, etc., you do that via the Strongholds window, clicking on the decoration, and there is a purchase for guild option below the portrait when you're viewing them. So that's how you do it. So yeah, Jace, it's really up to our guild members to add more decorations so we can decorate at least our whatever we've opened so far, which is really just the main deck.
Very nice. All right. Darklighter writes, the music on Manon perfectly encapsulates the KOTOR soundtrack. Brilliant. And I think that's enough big words for today. Yeah. I might have to run it again just to notice the music, because I do play the music, but I keep it pretty low. And since we were chatting on how to beat bosses and what's coming around the next corner and all that, I wasn't really listening to the music. But
Manan is beautifully done. Beautifully done.
And definitely reminded me of playing KOTOR back in the day,
Yeah.
so that was pretty cool. David at re_Kiri writes, do you get more bonuses if you have more than one stronghold at 100%?
Now, the answer to that is, we think, for your 4 personal strongholds, they each contribute a maximum of 25%. So you have to have all 4 at 100%, you will get the full 100% bonus.
Yes, I double-checked on this, and stronghold individually adds up to 25. Since there are only 4, you can get up to 100, but you have to get 100% in your stronghold in order to get 25% for that stronghold.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a whole lot of decorations and a whole lot of money, because you have to get all 4 fully unlocked and all of those decorations and hooks, and it's a lot of time too.
It's a lot of time.
You have to unlock them too. You can't just decorate the early parts.
All expansions opened, fully expanded, and all the hooks utilized, which is what the completion percentage refers to. And I found it extremely demoralizing to just be plastering walls with posters. It was just the most mind-numbing exercise. But it's the quickest way. It really is.
Okay. Let's see. Elion D writes, if in a... Sorry, let me start that one over. Elion D writes, in a maxed guild, if everyone gives 100,000 credits, boom, there's your 50 million. So just a couple of weeklies for each guildie, and it's done. Smaller guilds can adjust accordingly, but it isn't really hard to make 100,000 in this game. I hope this helps. 700k in a casino. I've spent really wanting the Magnus, and boom, what did I win? Oh, the Rancor! A sad face. I don't know why, but sad face for, to each his own. I wanted to sell it, but I couldn't. Now that I have it, though, I have to agree with Tio. It is quite cool. There you go.
Is it ever? Yeah. That's still my favorite mount in the game right now.
Yeah, the one of the more unusual things about it is just how high up you sit.
Mm.
Right, because you really are riding it in a completely different position than any other mount. So it's very cool just for that.
It's a different perspective. Bill commented on that early on, and he's right.
Yeah, absolutely. Midnight Moon writes, I created a Google spreadsheet with the rough estimations of Moneymaker Bill's suggestions averaged, and these prices that are selling on the Jedi Covenant server. I hope this helps, and there will be a link in the notes.
What do you reckon, Bill?
Just bringing it up here. It's not too bad. It's a lot easier than mine.
Simplified version, streamlined version.
It is. It'd take me a little bit of time of going through it to see exactly how I set it all up, but that's what I always. I made that comment on Twitter at one point. My spreadsheets are just the average person would look at them and just scratch their head and be just as confused. To me, they make perfect sense. It's like reading the Matrix, but yeah.
Okay.
It would work.
All right.
Okay, we will link to that in the show notes for anyone on the Jedi Covenant server specifically. And if you just want to do a template, use it as a template for your own.
At Olib Gaming linked something from a website, someonewhotried.com. Tio, what is this about?
This is his SWTOR Legacy Cartel Coin Unlocks versus credits. And what he's done is that for all of your various legacy unlocks and things, you can either some with credits or cartel coins, at least if you're a subscriber.
Right.
I think there are some exceptions.
If you have the coins, yeah.
Yep. And what he did was break it down on a credit per coin basis as a ratio. So you can then, he's listed them all, you can actually see just how much bang you're getting for your buck.
Very nice.
As far as, so you can determine, is it better to use credits or better to use cartel coins? I don't know if he's added legacy storage yet. Yes? No.
Right. I haven't brought this up. I seem to remember, though, remembering that Rocket Boost is incredibly cheap on a cartel coin basis. That sort of thing. Nice.
Now with your Legacy storage, I've opened up 2 bays so far. Well, you get the free one, and then I bought one so far with credits. I'm choking a little on the 750,000 credits for the third one. I know that's sad, but it's probably better than 750 cartel coins. But obviously, the more you open, the better the cartel coin unlock gets, because the credit cost goes up, but the cartel coin is constant, at least for those bays.
Right. Very nice. Okay, let's see. I like having that. That's a good one. Julian writes, dye modules to paint the interior of our homes. Is it a possibility? It would make for some pretty cool themes.
Now, I know Swotor Minor has actually talked through this, and from what I remember he was saying, from his sources, was that this was kind of not really, it wasn't built with this in mind, and so it wasn't going to be possible. So, yeah, it looks like, while that would make sense and would have all kinds of garish possibilities, wow, the mind really does boggle. Yeah, it's probably not going to happen, even though it's a great idea.
Right.
Which it was also kind of interesting. I almost wonder if perhaps the reason they didn't go with a sandbox environment for the house is also tied into why they've now told us flat out there will never be player-generated content for maps or whatnot, because of legal reasons for the licensing agreement over Star Wars itself. I'm wondering if, part of this decision to go with the hooks the way that they did, they need to make it Star Wars in order for Disney and Lucas to even approve these additions to the game itself.
I don't know.
Maybe.
Yeah.
All right. Jeremy writes, at long last, Warchild's Bravo team has conquered Dread Palace Council hard mode. Very nice.
Congratulations, guys. Well done.
They're ahead of us.
Well ahead. We'll get there one day.
All right. Greg writes, not sure if I'm more excited by Strongholds or Conquests. And yet, I think the first thing I'll do is Manon. You can always, if you consider it, get it out of the way if nothing else. So
At least once, each side.
All right. Let's see. And then Chong writes in Zombie Chong. And he has a kind of, it looks like a GIF, I guess, or a Vine.
It's a Vine. So it's a short little animated clip
That's
of a rather
yeah.
bizarre bug that he encountered. So I'll link to it. It's very strange.
Yeah.
Very strange.
Very strange indeed. Okay. Prottle writes, Star Wars lightsaber katana.
And I have not watched this, so I'll link to it and hope it's safe for work.
All right. Let's see. Mariah, this is writes in response to Bill's latest price update for GSH-related items. I picture you slowly dry washing your hands with a soft maniacal chuckle, watching your bank account swell.
What a great intro
wish.
for.
Well, that will bring us to the Sarlacc Digest then, where we go over the issues for 1,000 years. And of course, with Bill here, that's exactly what we're going to be talking about. Making money and all that good stuff in Galactic Strongholds.
All right. Well, I'm not going to go into too much tonight. I think last time I was on, it was a little overwhelming. It was still... I felt it. I felt a little overwhelmed. As I said, that was the word I've been using all week, and
Feel the same.
I honestly have 0 conquest points this week. I've done so much to contribute to the guild. That's going to change tonight. Finally feel like I'm getting over that, and I'm going to get somewhere.
Okay.
But I'm happy. The market was so crazy yesterday. I kind of been making comments on my daily post about that. The prices were just ridiculous. Today felt much better when I looked at stuff. There are still some real gaps in what is available on the GTN. Be aware of that. It is kind of one of those things. I only know that the gaps exist because I am literally looking through every single mat every day, at least twice. That's 185-ish different materials. And you'll find that on general, I've found that most mats have about, when you're talking the mid to low levels, but especially, have about doubled in price. Not huge moves, so stuff that was at 200 credits is now at 400 credits. But if your cost to get them through crafting missions is 150, your profit just went from 50 per piece to 250. It goes up quite a bit.
Yep.
And kind of as I expected, it's playing out just about as I predicted. The level 9 stuff, there is so much of that saved that those prices actually have not gone up hardly at all. But the level 6...
Not yet.
Not yet. And we'll talk about that in a minute. The level 6 stuff has just gone through the roof. If you're holding on to those level 6 luxury fabrics, I mean, they've gone. I was buying them. They're up tenfold. I was buying them for 1,500-ish.
Wow.
I'm selling them for 15,000-ish now.
And because those are the mats required for one of the components for the MK3's prefabs. So the 6s and 9s together.
Yes, and those are all required for the fabricator design.
Right.
And there's no other way to make the fabricator design other than the luxury fabrics.
Yep.
Similarly, the fabricator crystals that are required, the only way to use those are color crystals. So those have been really popular, as I said. Surprisingly, the blue slicing mats have really jumped in price. I was not expecting that to happen at all because there's just been so many of them sitting around.
Even the level 9s?
The level 9s have gone up the least of anything, not to be surprised.
Of course. Yeah.
The level 6s have gone up by a factor of 7 or 8, quite significantly.
Are you talking about the
I need
augmentation
one.
parts, or what are you talking about exactly?
The slice tech parts specifically.
The
The
slice
blue
tech.
ones.
The blue ones, the ones that you get every time
The
you
ones that
find
you
them.
get all the time when you're trying to get the purple.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
Okay.
But you only need
I've
one
got
per
hundreds of
prefab. It seems odd that they would actually affect the price.
Exactly what I thought. Only needing one, you would think they wouldn't go up that much. But they have.
Apparently no one held on to the early ones.
No.
I did. I should sell them.
There's pockets like radioactive paste, which is the level 6 for biochem, has gone way up.
That's a purple?
Yes. Those, even the interesting, like the sterilization kit is the level 9 purple.
Yeah.
That hasn't gone up at all. But
No.
the medical grade injectors, which are the 5 blue ones that are required, they have gone up.
Okay.
The purples are only used for your reusable stems, etc.
Yeah.
So it's
They
the blues are actually used for blue stems, which are
Right.
obviously the best. So there's a bit of competition there as well.
Yep. So today's update, I did the one additional level that I haven't really been able to do each day, is now there's a price for each associated with it to craft it, the cheapest way to craft it, along with what profession gets the cheapest way to craft it, because for some of them there are alternatives.
Right. Kind of like how we discovered the droid parts is the cheapest way to get kit parts.
Exactly. So when it comes to like synthetic prefab kit, MK1, the first day I pulled it, synth weaving had the best way to do it. Day 2, biochem had the best way to do it. Day 3, it went back to synth weaving. Now it's an artifice. So as the market changes and different prices affect each of those builds, each profession might have an advantage over one over another. The thing I added today is what those kits are actually selling for on the GTN right now. So you can now compare not only just what's the cheapest way to make something, but you can actually then see, well, even, for example, the industrial prefab kit MK2s. If you were to go out and buy the pieces, the raw materials to make it off the GTN, it would cost you 59,360 credits today.
Whew.
But they're only selling for 59,000 even. So it would actually make sense to look up that and sell the materials that go into making it, because you're actually going to make better profit than actually selling the item itself.
Yeah.
That is pretty much the exception, though. There's a couple of here and there, but generally speaking, it is still a big markup to be crafting the end product right now.
Which is probably because of the time investment required, I would guess.
Yep, it is. It's pretty easy, though, because I can, on one character, have a synthetic prefab, a fabricator design, and a fabricated crystal all running simultaneously. And then use a different character for industrial, and then use another character for universal prefabs as soon as they're all done. Another really good use, I will defend the Legacy bank a little bit here after I badmouth it. That's a pretty good use to throw all of those pieces in it.
Yes.
Because then any character you bring up can use any of those pieces to make the universals and then the dark projects as well.
And remembering, of course, that you want to use a character with the highest possible crit for that particular crafting profession, the companion or whatever, so that you can, because you will get an extra if it crits.
Yep.
Very nice.
For example, Corso on a smuggler has the 5% bonus to arms tech, which fortunately my gunslinger is arms tech.
And if you've got I've got my my sage as a companion with a plus 5% bonus. No, I've got the ship droid with plus 5% item on it, so it helps as well.
So just keep an eye on that daily. I'll keep doing it daily, at least for a little while. Like I said, it is an hour-ish a day at least for me to run it, so it is a little bit of a grind after doing it 6 days in a row. But I'm going to keep it up for a while until we see things stabilize.
Right.
What do I expect to see here? I would say right now, I think you'll see the crafting prices continue to creep down a little bit as more and more people figure this out over the next couple of days.
Right.
Once the weekend hits and we see a bunch of people start pouring in, as we said, there's already a queue tonight. I can't imagine what it's going to be like Saturday.
Yeah.
It could get weird again. You just never know whether people are going to come into the game and then go, oh, I need to buy a bunch of this stuff to make it myself, or they're going to come in and say, I need to buy a bunch of the kits so I can immediately buy decorations, or they're just going to run around lost asking questions in general chat that I've see time and time again.
Right.
I predict it'll mostly be people buying them off the GTN, honestly.
I would think the weekend warriors are your more casual players, so I would expect that as well.
This is a crafter's market, or so it seems.
It is for now, absolutely. And then beyond that, who knows what could happen here? I think it's going to be up to BioWare to keep the market for these decorations interesting compared to the cartel and the drops.
Right.
Because as more and more people get random drops and the cartel puts out more and more items, I could see the demand for these standard items going less and less, except for the people that are trying to absolutely max their prestige in order to get high on the public listings.
Right.
So sell.
All the good advice. All the rep items, they do require the prefabs as well to purchase from the
Not
various.
all.
Okay.
It's really random. Some require the currency of the rep.
Of the rep. Oh, okay.
Some require prefab kits. Some require both.
Okay.
Any just for credits?
Yes. There is one on the light side vendor, one on the dark side vendor, on the fleet, and then there are There is a vendor, a decorations vendor, next to where you unlock your planets that has. You can get more copies of all the ones you get as quest rewards for credits. They're pretty cheap. They're on that same vendor. There is also only two additional ones. One's like a assembled kit or something like that, but it's the two chairs that are kind of half semicircles, and another item. Two of those items are unique. You don't get them as quest rewards, and then that's all the credit ones that I was able to find.
There aren't many, but I thought I remembered some out there that were for credits, but it's not much. Most are costing something.
Right.
Yeah.
And of
And then
course,
there are the Warzone comms one and the GSF ones. And then on the PvP GSF vendor, what's been a lot of drama is the fact that there are also plans that require you to get operations drop materials in order to make the purchase for PvP GSF items. What? Like, what? But, yeah.
Well,
Yeah, they're available
you
on
can
the
purchase
GTN
them
mode.
from people who do operations. Why not?
Yep.
So that wraps up pretty much my my little bit tonight. It's like I said, I would just be selling into everything right now. I've said in Twitter a couple times and on my posts on the forums of be patient. If you pull up a material listing and you see only 3 listings there, and they're 5,000 a piece and 5,000 a piece and 5,000 a piece, don't buy all of them and then throw them in at 100,000 a piece, thinking that you can control the market. I've seen a lot of that in the past 24 hours, and it doesn't work. There's nobody dumb enough that's going to go in and go, oh, $100,000 for this one material? Yeah, I'll take 5. Don't price yourself out of the market just because you're controlling the market. That's what I like about today's prices is of the 160 items, 60 of them are up day over day, and most of those are doubled in price day over day, but they're not ridiculous. A lot of the ridiculous prices yesterday, there was some stuff that are 75,000 for one raw mat. They started coming down into the realistic range of 12,500, 15,000 today. I say realistic, I mean, that's still ridiculous.
High. Yeah.
But they're actually selling at those prices, so I know firsthand.
Red, have there been some questions coming in?
The only thing we got is, what are you going to be making right now, Bill? And is there a best item per profession that you could recommend?
Well, so right now, all I am making I'm making some prefab kits for myself, so I can get my GTN and my Stronghold. Literally, that's all I've crafted so far, is just to get a GTN in my Stronghold and the Legacy Bank in Stronghold and things like that. So I've taken TO's utilitarianism. I've thrown posters on every wall to max out my hooks. In the middle of the room, I have my Legacy Bank, I have my mailbox, I have my GTN.
Yep.
Right when you zone in.
Right, and that's it. There's no chairs, there's no nothing. It's just that in an empty room. So that's all I've done so far. I would tell you, as of right now, it's today's prices. I would be crafting the universal prefab kits, both the 2s and 3s. The 2s are really doing pretty well because they are required for some of these utilitarian items that are mandatory. I say mandatory, that most people feel are mandatory, like those items, like a link to my bank.
Right. Even not people who are not going to decorate for real are still going to make a quick Stronghold that has all the important stuff that you can use and then get out.
Yep. So I'm focusing on that. Universal prefab kits 2 and 3 especially.
Cool. Are you selling any raw materials at all?
Oh yeah. Yeah. That's where I've made. So in the past 24 hours, I've cleared about $5 million in sales. All of raw materials. I've sold some stuff at ridiculous prices. I mean, just prices that I just said people aren't dumb enough to buy. That some of them, there were a couple that did, but there aren't many. The prices are much better now, and so tonight I've been logging in and out and just standing at the GTN. That's the other benefit, is I stand at the GTN item by item by item, and I find one that's listed really low. I buy it and I immediately put it back on and resell it. So since my last episode, I've had several people reach out and ask me one-on-one questions. Don't hesitate, ask me anything. I'm happy to answer as I get free time. A few of them will reach back out to me in the past day and said they're making money hand over fist too. So
awesome.
It's good to hear.
That's great.
So
yep.
I'm not making that much, but if somebody else is, songs are not in the harbinger.
Very cool. All right. Is that everything then?
Yep.
Awesome. All right, that's a show. If you'd like to play with us in the Utini Knights Guild on the Republic side of the Harbinger server, or in our
Utini Rage
Guild on the Empire side, do a /C join Utini to join the Utini channel. Then ask for the quiz that lets us know you're a fan of the show. You can email questions and comments about the show to OotiniCast@gmail.com. Follow us on Twitter. We're on @OotiniCast. I Twitter under my own name @Brandon L. Starr, and Teo uses his name @Jason Etheridge. Bill Twitters under Bill Lentz, Lentz, and Red Twitters under R3DN4, or you can watch him on twitch.tv/R3DN4. Check out our website, OotiniCast.com, which has links to our presence on Google Plus and Facebook. You can subscribe to us on iTunes, and we're also on Stitcher and Spreaker. We record the show live every Wednesday at 4:30 p.m. Pacific. Go to OotiniCast.com/live to find out how to join in. Our theme song is from Mevio's Music Alley. Check it out at music.mevio.com. That's MEVIO. And thank you to the chat room, and thank you, Bill and Red.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks a lot. See you next week.
See you next time.
All right, everyone, keep recording, and we'll do our thing in a second. Thank you, chat room. Some great discussion there. I was actually able to catch some of it this time. So, yep, there will be an episode of the show posted on Monday, which is Red's interview with the Cyber Elf about cosplay. So that's something a bit different. And then next week will be episode 162 with special guest, the Pamela.
Excellent.
All right. We will talk to you then. Stopping the